Hello, good morning everyone. Myself Sojanya. I am working as assistant professor in the Department of Pharmacology. Here I am going to explain about pharmacology of drugs acting on autonomic nervous system. So this is the second chapter in pharmacology subject in second form day. Pharmacology means what? Pharmacology means it's a branch of science. Okay, it deals with drugs and their actions on living system. So that is called as pharmacology. Okay, pharmacology means it is a branch of science. It deals with drugs and their actions on living system. That is known as pharmacology. Simply the study of drugs acting on living system. Okay, and what is drug? Okay, so drug means is any substance or any product. Okay, when taken into our body, it may alter the body function either physiologically or psychologically. That is known as drug. Okay, so the drugs is acting on autonomic nervous system. What is autonomic nervous system? So autonomic nervous system is a part of peripheral nervous system, and peripheral nervous system is a part of nervous system. Okay, so the nervous system, it includes CNS and PNS, central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Peripheral nervous system includes somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. Okay, so what is the meaning of this chapter is the study of drugs. Okay, the study of drugs especially act on autonomic nervous system. Okay, so before entering into this topic, you have to know the some basics of nervous system. Okay, you have to know some basics of nervous system. So like some important terms in nervous system and parts of neuron. Okay, so what is sensory neuron, what is motor neuron, what is preganglionic neuron, so what is postganglionic neuron, and what is sympathetic nervous system, what is a parasympathetic nervous system, what is stimulus, and what is nerve impulse, and what is a receptor. Okay, so what is synapse? So all those things you have to know. Okay, so before entering into the our topic, so today's class, first I will discuss some basics of nervous system. Nervous system means what? Okay, nervous system is detects and responds to changes. Nervous system is detects and responds to changes. That changes, it may occurs in inside of our body or outside of our body. That is known as nervous system. Okay, it detects and responds to changes. That changes is may occurs in inside of our body or outside of our body. So in this nervous system, the main basic element is neuron. Okay, so what is neuron? Can you define neuron? Neuron, it is an electrically excitable cell. Okay, neuron is an electrically excitable cell. That cell, it may communicate with another cell or another neuron. Okay, and what is the parts of neuron? Okay, so the neuron consists of mainly three major parts, that is dendrites, cell body, axon. Okay, so see this dendrites, cell body, and axon. Okay, so this one is cell body. The cell body consists of nucleus. Okay, the nucleus is controls the entire the neuron. Okay, the function of nucleus is control the entire neuron, and around the nucleus consists of cytoplasm is there, and the cytoplasm consists of organelles, cell organelles like rough endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi complex. Okay, microfilaments and microtubules. Okay, so all cell organelles are present around the nucleus. Okay, so overall the cell body includes nucleus and cytoplasm. Cytoplasm consists of cell organelles. Okay, so the function of cell body is it organizes the and keeps the cell functional. Okay, means the cell body is required to organize the cell function. Okay, and dendrites. Okay, the dendrites which are extended from the cell body, and the dendrites is very small and highly branch like structure, and these are arises from the cell body, and these dendrites are receive the signals from the other cells. Okay, the dendrites are receive the signals from other cells. And what is cell membrane? Okay, that cell membrane is covered over the cell body, the total cell is covered with cell membrane, and function of this cell membrane is it protects the cell. And next part is axon. Okay, so this axon is extended from the cell body. Okay, and this axon it is extended from cell body with the help of some cone shaped elevation. That cone shaped elevation is known as axon hillock. Okay, so that axon hillock is combines the two structure, so that is cell body and axon. And what is the purpose of hillock? Axon hillock is it generates the impulses in the neuron. Okay, axon hillock is generates the impulses in the neuron. And what is axon? Axon, it is a long, thin cylindrical projection. Okay, long, thin cylindrical projection. That projection it is extended from cell body. Okay, so in between cell body axon consists of cone-shaped elevation is known as axon hillock. Okay, and at the end of the axon consists of axon nerve terminals. Okay, at the end of the axon consists of axon nerve terminals, and at the end of axon nerve terminal consists of some bulb-like shape is there. Okay, so the bulb-like structure is known as synaptic end bulb. Okay, so at the end of the synaptic end bulb consists of small sac-like structures is also there. That sac-like structures is known as synaptic vesicles. So within the synaptic vesicle consists of neurotransmitter. Okay, the storage site of neurotransmitter is synaptic vesicles. And next one, the axon is covered with myelin sheath. Okay, so this myelin sheath, purpose of this myelin sheath is increase the speed of the signal. Okay, so the myelin sheath main purpose is increase the speed of the signal. And this myelin sheath is produced by one kind of cell. That kind of cell is known as Schwann cell. Okay, so that Schwann cell is also present in that axon region. So the Schwann cell is produces a myelin sheath. Myelin sheath is required. Purpose of this myelin sheath is increase the speed of the signal. And in between myelin sheath consists of small gap-like structures is there. Okay, so these are the gaps. So this gaps is known as node of Ranvier. Okay, this node of Ranvier allows the diffusion of ion. So what is the main function of this node of Ranvier is it promote the conduction of nerve impulses. Okay, the node of Ranvier is promote the conduction of nerve impulses. Because of node of Ranvier is allows the diffusion of ions. So that's why it is promote the conduction of nerve impulses. Okay, and these are parts of neuron. Okay, the neuron consists of major dendrite, cell body, axon. Axon covered with myelin sheath. Myelin sheath is produced from the Schwann cell, and cell body and axon is the connected part in between cell body and axon is axon hillock. And within the cell body consists of nucleus, and the cell membrane is covered over the cell. And axon nerve terminal consists of synaptic end bulb, and synaptic end bulb consists of synaptic vesicle, and synaptic vesicle consists of neurotransmitter. And purpose of the neurotransmitter is it is required to transmission of the nerve impulses from one neuron to another neuron. Next, some definitions here. What is stimulus? Okay, so what is stimulus? Stimulus means it is anything or any event. Okay, any external event or anything. So that thing it is that evokes a specific functional reaction in an organ or tissue. Okay, so anything, okay, any other external thing, that thing which causes the functional reaction in organ, that is known as stimulus. So for example, when your finger is exposed to any hard surfaces, okay, your finger is exposed to hard surface, then what will happen? Some functional reaction is happen in your limbs region, okay, in your upper limb region. Okay, so why that functional reaction is happen? Because of your finger is exposed to hard surface, then immediately what will happen in our body? Our sensory neurons are activated. Okay, so in sensory neurons, what will happen? There is a production of the nerve impulses. Okay, so that nerve impulses will be reached into the our brain and spinal cord. Okay, so the sensory neurons are carries that sensory information towards the our brain and spinal cord. Then what will happen? The information is integrated in our brain region. Then motor neurons are receive that signals. Then the motor neurons are carries the information towards the our target tissue. Okay, then what will happen in that particular situation? Okay, what is that situation? Your finger is exposed to hot surface. Then what will happen? There is a functional reaction is happen. What is that functional reaction? So that is immediately we will remove our finger from that hot surface. Okay, we will remove our finger from hot surface. That is a functional reaction. Okay, that functional reaction is occurs due to what? Stimulus. Okay, here what is stimulus? The hard surface. The hard surface is stimulus. Okay, got my point? The example of that stimulus is hot surface or any cold surface, any sound or any light, okay, any noise, okay, any other injury. Okay, so that is stimuli are two types, somatic sensory stimuli and visual stimuli. That visual stimuli, it will be produced in our body. Okay, that will arise in our body. Okay, and somatic sensory stimuli, the somatic sensory stimuli, it will be present outside of our body. Okay, so any what is the meaning of stimulus is anything or any event, okay, that causes the specific functional reaction in organ or tissue. That is known as stimulus. Okay, example is that hot surface. So nerve impulse. Next definition is nerve impulse. So what is nerve impulse? Nerve impulse is an electrical signal. Okay, so that electrical signal is travel along the nerve fiber in the response to stimulus. So for example, your finger is exposed to hot surface, that is stimulus. Okay, nerve impulse is electrical signal. That signal is travel along the nerve fiber in the response to stimulus. Okay, so our finger is exposed to stimulus. Okay, for example, any other body, our body part is exposed to stimulus. Then what will happen immediately? There is a production of the signals. Okay, there is a production of the electrical signals in our neuron. Okay, there is a production of electrical signals in our neuron. Then what will happen? That electrical signals. Okay, so for example, sensory neurons are activated when your finger is exposed to hot surface. Then there is a production of electrical signals in sensory neurons. Okay, then that sensory neurons carries that electrical signal. Okay, that carries the electrical signals towards our brain and spinal cord region. Okay, then what will happen? That information is integrated in our body. Then that information is taken by motor neurons, and motor neurons is also carries that impulses towards our target tissue. Okay, so that is the information. Okay, so information is nothing but it is a one kind of electrical signal. Okay, that electrical signals is travel along the nerve fibers in the response to a stimulus. Okay, so that is known as nerve impulse. Nerve impulse is nothing but signal. Okay, for example, when your finger or whenever your body is exposed to any other stimulus, then what will happen immediately? There is a production of electrical signals in our neuron. Okay, so that neuron, it will be travel along our nerve fiber. Okay, nerve fiber, and that electrical signal, it will be reached to our brain region. So that is known as nerve impulses. Okay, next, what is neurotransmitter? Okay, so what is neurotransmitter? Neurotransmitter is a chemical substance. Okay, it is a chemical substance. It is act as a mediator. It is act as a mediator for the transmission of nerve impulses from one neuron to another neuron through a synapse. Okay, it is allows the it is act as a messenger. It allows the neurological information from one neuron to another neuron. Okay, so neurotransmitter is nothing but it is a chemical substance. That chemical substance, it will be stored in synaptic vesicle. That synaptic vesicle, it will be located in synaptic end bulbs. Okay, so purpose of this neurotransmitter is it is allows the transmission of nerve impulses. Okay, it allows the transmission of nerve impulses from one neuron to another neuron. Okay, so first thing is stimulus. In the response to stimulus, nerve impulses production is happens. Okay, so after production of nerve impulses, the transmission of nerve impulses requires which chemical molecule? That is neurotransmitters. Okay, got my point? Next one is receptor. Okay, so the receptor is a protein molecule. So that molecule, it is usually found and is embedded within the plasma membrane surface of cell, and that molecule, it will receive the chemical signals from outside the cell. Then that chemical signals, it will be binds with receptors, and they cause some cellular response or tissue response. Okay, so what is receptor? Receptor is a protein molecule. That protein molecule, it will be embedded and it will be found in the plasma membrane. That plasma membrane is present on the surface of cell. Then that molecule, uh, that protein molecule, it is binds with chemical signals. Okay, the signals, it will be come from the outside of the cell. Okay, then that chemical signals, that chemical molecule, that is nothing but neurotransmitter. That molecule, it will be binds with what, that protein molecule. Then it causes the special this tissue response. Okay, it produces a cellular or tissue response. Next, what is a neuron? Okay, so this one is stimulus, nerve impulse, neurotransmitter, and receptor. So next thing is neuron. So what is neuron? Neuron is an electrically excitable cell. Okay, that cell, it may communicate with other cells via specialized connections. That specialized connections is known as synapses. Okay, so what is synapse? Okay, synapse is nothing but a point, a particular point. In that particular point, there is a nerve impulses, it passes from one neuron to another neuron. See here. So this one is preganglionic neuron and this one is postganglionic neuron. So in between preganglionic neuron and postganglionic neuron consists of small spaces there. So that is known as synaptic cleft. Okay, this one is synapse. So what is purpose of synapse? Synapse is a major site for communication between two neurons. Okay, so this one is presynaptic neuron, this one is postsynaptic neuron. So this one is axon, now terminal. Okay, this area is axon, now terminal. So this axon now terminal consists of, this one is synaptic vesicle. So the synaptic vesicle consists of neurotransmitters. Okay, so then what is synapse? What is the definition? This definition means it is a particular point. This is a point. So in this point, there is a communication is occurs. Okay, there is a transmission of impulses is occurs from one neuron to another neuron. So that particular site is known as, that particular site and particular point is known as synapse. Okay. Neuron is electrical excitable cell. It communicates with other cells. Okay, via some specialized connections. That connections is known as synapse. Synapse is a major site for the communication between two neurons. That is known as synapse. Next, what is pre and post ganglionic neuron? Okay, so what is pre and post ganglionic neuron? So this one is preganglionic neuron and this one is postganglionic neuron. So the preganglionic neuron cell bodies, okay, the preganglionic neuron cell bodies which are present in CNS. Okay, the preganglionic neuron cell bodies are present in CNS. CNS, it includes what? Brain and spinal cord. And the peripheral nervous system, it includes spinal nerves and cranial nerves. Okay, so the preganglionic neuron cell bodies are extended from the CNS, nothing but brain and spinal cord. And this preganglionic neuron consists of axon. So that axon, it will be myelinated. What? It will be, it is a myelinated. This preganglionic neuron, it makes a synapse with what? Postganglionic neuron in a specialized location that is known as autonomic ganglion. So this autonomic ganglion is nothing but it is a site. That site consists of preganglionic nerve terminals and postganglionic cell bodies. Okay, so that autonomic ganglion consists of preganglionic nerve terminals and postganglionic cell bodies is there. So here the preganglionic neurons are make a synapse with what? Postganglionic neurons. Okay, so the postganglionic neuron consists of dendrites. Okay, the cell bodies is consist of dendrites, and the dendrites which are extended from the cell bodies. So here the dendrites are receive the signals from the preganglionic neuron. Okay, so after that, so this from postganglionic neurons to effector organs. Okay, the postganglion neurons are transmit the nerve impulses towards the effector organs. So examples of effector organs is cardiac muscles, smooth muscles, glands, and adipose tissue. Okay, so here the postganglionic neurons are unmyelinated. Okay, means what? There is an absence of myelin sheath. Okay, so especially in autonomic nervous system. Okay, in autonomic nervous system, postganglionic neurons are unmyelinated and preganglionic neurons are myelinated. So there is a major difference. Okay, the two major difference is the preganglionic neurons are preganglionic neuron cell bodies are extended from the CNS. Okay, they receive the signals from the CNS. Okay, and then preganglion neuron make a synapse with postganglionic neuron, and postganglionic neurons are receive the signals from which region? Preganglionic nerve terminals. Then the postganglionic neurons are transmit the signals towards the effector organs. Okay, so these two major differences. One thing is preganglionic neurons is myelinated, postganglionic neurons are unmyelinated, and preganglionic neurons receive the signal from CNS, and postganglionic neurons receive the signals from the autonomic ganglion. Okay, so autonomic ganglion is a major site for communication between preganglionic neurons and postganglionic neurons. Okay, this one is pre and postganglionic neurons. Next, types of neuron. Here, the neurons are typically classified into three major types. That is based on the function. Okay, based on the function, the neurons are divided to three types. That is sensory neurons, motor neurons, and interneurons. So the sensory neurons. Okay, the sensory neurons also known as efferent neurons. So the sensory neurons are response to stimuli. So that stimuli is any touch, sound, heat, cold, any injury, any physical injury, light. Okay, so in that cases, then what will happen? It is response to that particular stimuli. Then there is a in our sensory organs, what will happen? There is a production of nerve impulses. Okay, so then that sensory neurons then carries the signals. Okay, they carry the signals towards the our brain and spinal cord region. Okay, efferent neurons are carries the sensory information towards the brain and spinal cord. That is called as sensory neurons. Then afterwards, that sensory information, it will be integrated in interneurons. Okay, so this, what is interneurons? Interneurons are connect the neurons to other neurons. Okay, interneurons are connect the neurons to other neurons within the same region of brain and spinal cord. Okay, so this information, it will be integrated in which region? Interneurons, nothing but it is present in brain and spinal cord. Then afterwards, the motor neurons will receive the signal from that brain and spinal cord. Then that signals, okay, that signals is received from brain and spinal cord. Then the signal is carried towards the our target tissues. Okay, either smooth muscles or endocrine glands or cardiac muscles or adipose tissue. Okay, so the motor neurons are receive that integrated information, nothing but receive the signals from the brain and spinal cord. Then after receiving the signal from the brain and spinal cord, that information is carried towards the target tissue, that is known as motor neuron, and also known as efferent neurons. Okay, next one, organization of nervous system. Okay, so the nervous system is divided to two major divisions. So that is central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Okay, the central nervous system includes brain and spinal cord, and peripheral nervous system, it includes sensory neurons and motor neurons. Okay, here the sensory neurons is major responsible for the transmission of nerve impulses from sense organs to CNS. Okay, the sensory neurons are transmit the sensory information from sensory organs to CNS. So these sensory fibers which conduct the nerve impulses towards the CNS. So that's why it is called as efferent fibers. Okay. For example, when your finger is exposed to any other hard surfaces, then what will happen immediately? The sensory neurons, it will be activated. Our sense organ, it will be activated, and there is a in that there is a activation of sensory neurons. Then that sensory neurons are carries the information towards our brain and spinal cord. Okay, there's a transmission of nerve impulses from sense organs to CNS. Then what is motor neurons? Okay, so motor nerve fibers that conduct the impulses. Motor nerve fibers are conduct the nerve fibers, conduct the impulses away from the CNS. That is called as efferent fibers. So our motor nerve fibers are conduct the nerve impulses towards the effector organs. That is also called as efferent neurons, also known as efferent fibers or motor neurons. Okay, motor neurons are conduct the nerve impulses away from the CNS. Okay, or moves towards the effector organs. Okay, away from CNS, or that nerve impulses are moved towards the effector organs. That is called as efferent fibers. Motor neurons are efferent fibers. Next, what is the functional organization of the peripheral nervous system? Okay, so nervous system is divided to two major things, that is central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Okay, central nervous system includes brain and spinal cord. Peripheral nervous system includes sensory and motor. Okay, motor division and sensory division. Okay, so that sensory neurons or sensory division or efferent division, it is response to, okay, the sensory division is response to two kinds of stimuli. So the two kinds of stimuli is somatic sensory stimuli and visceral sensory stimuli. Okay, so what is somatic sensory stimuli? The somatic sensory stimuli which are present outside of our body. Okay, like any light, heat, or any cold. Okay, any vibration. Okay, any touch. Okay, so these are all our somatic sensory stimuli. Okay, so that somatic sensory stimuli, okay, so the sensory or efferent divisions is it is a response to somatic sensory stimuli. Okay, so as a result of this stimuli, there is a some functional reaction happens, that is hearing, equilibrium, or vision. Okay, so this this functional reactions is produced in the response to somatic sensory stimuli. Okay, or and proprioception. Proprioception is means what? It is an awareness of the position or movement of the body. Awareness of the position or movement of the body means any abnormal position. So in that case, any abnormal position of our upper limbs or lower limbs, okay, due to any other thing. Okay, that is also one kind of sensory stimuli. Okay, so next, that sensory efferent division, it is response to visual stimuli also. Okay, that visual stimuli that will be arise within the body. Okay, like any chemical changes in visceral organs. Okay, any irritation in his visceral organs. Okay, like nausea. Okay, that chemical irritation may cause us a nausea or any hunger feeling. Okay, and in the response to visual stimuli, there is a production of some reaction, that is taste and smell. Okay, the sensory or efferent divisions are response to two kinds of stimuli, that is somatic sensory stimuli and visceral sensory stimuli. Okay, so then motor division, okay, nothing but efferent division is divided to somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. Okay, this somatic nervous system is also known as voluntary nervous system, and autonomic nervous system is also known as involuntary nervous system. Why somatic nervous system is called as voluntary nervous system? Because of the somatic motor neurons which is present in skeletal muscles. Okay, in our body consists of three kinds of muscles is there: skeletal muscles, smooth muscles, and cardiac muscles. So the skeletal muscles are voluntary muscles because the skeletal muscle contractions and relaxations are our control. So for example, walking, running, jumping, okay, these are all our control. Okay, the skeletal muscle functions are all like contractions and relaxations are our control. Okay, so that's why the somatic nervous system is called as voluntary nervous system. And autonomic nervous system, autonomic motor neurons are present in smooth muscle, cardiac muscles, and glands. Okay, the smooth muscle contractions and relaxations are not our control. Okay, then cardiac muscle contractions and relaxation, nothing but heart rate. Okay, so pulse rate, heart rate. Okay, so heart rate is not our control. Okay, and gland secretions is also not our control, and the smooth muscle contractions and relaxations like digestion. Okay, digestion process is not our control. Okay, and urine production in nephron, it is not our control. Okay, digestion process is also not our control. All visceral organ functions is are not our control. Okay, so the smooth muscle is present in almost visceral organs. Okay, so with the visceral organ functions are not our control. So within that, the visceral organ consists of autonomic motor neurons. So that autonomic motor neurons are innervated of motor innervation of smooth muscles, cardiac muscles, and glands. So endocrine gland secretions, okay, endocrine hormone productions is also not our control. Okay, hormone secretion is also not our control. And autonomic motor neurons are autonomic nervous system, also known as involuntary nervous system, is divided to two types: sympathetic divisions and parasympathetic division. So this sympathetic and parasympathetic division, it includes nerve distribution is also there. Sympathetic nerve distribution is separate, and parasympathetic nerve distribution is also there. In next class, we will discuss about sympathetic and parasympathetic nerve distribution. Okay, and where it is arises from brain or spinal cord. Okay, we will discuss in next class, that is what is the differences between sympathetic and parasympathetic division, and what is the anatomical components of autonomic nervous system. Okay, then we will discuss some types of neurotransmitters in next class. Okay, the types of neurotransmitter and where it is located, and where it is how it is releases from the pre-synaptic neuron, and how it is binds with the postganglionic neurons, then from postganglion neurons to effectors, how it is transmitted from the pre to post, post to effectors. Okay, so in today's class, I have covered some important basic terms. What is the terms here? What is neuron? Okay, what is nervous system and parts of neuron, and what is stimulus, what is nerve impulse, what is neurotransmitter and receptor, and what is neuron, and what is synapse, what is pre and post ganglionic neurons, and what is the types of neuron, and organization of nervous system. It includes central and peripheral. Peripheral includes sensory and motor. Sensory division is response to two kinds of stimuli, that is somatic sensory stimuli and visual stimuli. Somatic sensory stimuli, which they are present outside of this body, and visual stimuli, they are present that will arise in inside of our body. And motor divisions are divided to two types: somatic and autonomic. Okay, autonomic is divided to two types: sympathetic and parasympathetic. So in next class, we will discuss about total anatomical components of ANS, and what is the nerve distribution. Okay, what is the sympathetic nerve distribution, what is the parasympathetic nerve distribution, and what is the differences in between sympathetic and parasympathetic. Okay, okay, thank you.